然后你坐在第哪一排？第9排。
Positivity of it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Chinese professionals working and living in Ireland decided to do something meaningful, and then they launched the Love Actually community group. Over the last 4 years, they have been doing so much, helping children who are either terminally ill or extremely poor. And tonight, we're here. We've witnessed such an event, Love Actually Talks, and I can't wait to hear our guest speakers to give us some very inspiring talks under the slogan of knowledge, inspiration, and love. Before we kickstart the event, I would like to announce some very important names who have shown great support to this event. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Carlson Cloney from Cloney Legal Services for sponsoring Love Actually Talks this evening. Thank you very much. All the funds raised tonight and all the ticket proceeds will go to Peter McVerry Trust, an organization dedicated to helping homeless people in Ireland. And we also have Mr. Michael Thompson, the Community Fundraising Officer from Peter McVerry Trust. Thank you for coming. Also, we're very lucky to have two very special guests tonight with us. First of all, Secretary Ms. Shang Chengcheng from the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in Ireland. Mr. Bao Shaojun, the chairman of the Asia Market. Also, we have our media partners and representatives of Chinese associations and societies in Ireland as our VIP guests. Thank you for joining us. Besides, I would also like to make the acknowledgement of the greatest support from 8 groups who purchased more than 50% of the tickets for this evening. They are Chinese Silicon Valley of Ireland, Huawei Foundation, Overseas Chinese Service Center, the Great Leap Limited, Association of Chinese Accountants in Ireland, Irish Rail, Kerry Group, and Flower Club. Thank you. That we have a very lovely lady sitting at the back of the venue. Her name is Angelia Xu. So she is our graphic facilitator. She's very talented and she's going to use her markers to capture the lovely moments of this event and this evening. Let's look forward to seeing her work at the end of the event.
Thank you.
So we also have Shifen here. So she is in charge of the music and sound system and PowerPoint. Thank you for your help. Now I would like to introduce the format of our evening tonight. So this is a very exciting evening. We're going to have 3 very special guests from 3 different backgrounds talking about topics which are going to encourage and inspire you guys. And each of them is going to talk for 15 to 17 minutes. And following that, there's going to be a panel discussion and question and answer session hosted by the founder of the Love Actually community group, Li Qian. So I already can't wait to kick this started. However, before we start, please kindly know that in the event of fire, go to the nearest exit and the assembly point is right outside. Leave all of your belongings because life is the most important treasure. Okay, so I would like to now introduce you Dr. Chu Fangzhe. So he is a postdoctoral researcher from Maynooth University, and his research area is early Irish language and literature. And tonight, his top topic is language diversities in Ireland and China. Welcome.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, this is, sorry, modern technology. Well, thank you all very much for coming here tonight and talk, and thanks especially for the Love Actually group for inviting me to give this talk. And my topic is about, okay, I see it here. My topic is about language diversity, a phenomenon which seldom comes to mind, but which is much more prevalent than most of people realize. I'll give you an example from a respected friend of mine, an acclaimed Irish poet who had married a Turkish husband. Once when she visited the Kurdish area in, is this what? Sorry. Once when she visited the Kurdish area in eastern Turkey, she was invited into her house and chatted with some local women. In the conversation about her family, she very proudly told them that her children speak 3 languages: English, Irish, and Turkish. Very good achievement. But instead of being impressed with Kurdish women were suspicious, one of them asked only 3 and explained that all of the children have at least 4 languages: Kurdish, Turkish, Arabic, and Persian. Well, a lot of young people there also learn to speak English or Russian, and in border villages, it is not rare to hear Kurds speaking Armenian, Georgian, Ossetic, or whatever language the neighbors speak. Obviously for them, 3 languages won't even be enough to live an ordinary life. So such multilingualism is generated by a diversified linguistic environment. Actually, we don't have to look that far. Just look at yourselves. You are no less talented, or shall I say, no less normal than the Kurds. I bet all of you here are at least bilingual in, say, Mandarin in English or Irish in English, and there must be quite a few of you who can also speak Cantonese, Shanghainese, French, or Spanish, whatever, at home. Where I come from in Guangdong, this is a map of the linguistic map of Guangdong showing the various languages spoken in the area. You hear a daily concert of Mandarin, Cantonese, Min, and Hakka in the streets. Language diversity is everywhere. You might be present in our grandparents' chat, in a business dinner, or simply in your favorite shows or anime movies. It does not require everyone in the environment to be multilingual, but it demands an equal and open space for languages and language users. Language diversity and multilingualism are universal, even in Britain or France, where one standardized language has long been dominant. English and French indeed have pushed out many indigenous languages such as Cornish or Breton in both countries, but recent globalization has brought in new pieces to the jigsaw puzzle. Statistics show that 51% of residents in France speak a different language at home. This sounds astonishing since after many years of nation-state formation in Europe, we've been so ingrained with the idea of one nation, one people, one language. And languages other than the national language are usually ignored in the public space and confined to specific domains such as familiar or domestic areas. In China, a somewhat unified written form of Chinese conceals many highly diverse languages. Since imperial times, localism has been discouraged until today, so we are taught that. So we're taught that Cantonese and Shanghainese are dialects rather than languages, and developments of written forms of these dialects have been significantly impeded. Of course, the distinction between a dialect and a language is very vague and belongs to a socio-political rather than to the strictly linguistic sense. But this unifying facade of the Sinitic languages indeed hampers our understanding of language diversity in China. Meanwhile, although non-Sinitic languages may enjoy the official status in their respective autonomous areas, they find themselves more and more detached from the fast developing world because native speakers have to learn new concepts by a second language, usually Mandarin, and the challenge can be huge if the institutional supports are lacking. The Zhuang language in Guangxi, for instance, has over 10 million speakers, but they are mostly agricultural. Zhuang speakers often have to switch to Mandarin or Cantonese to discuss sport, finance, and technology, and not surprisingly, those who move to cities most have abandoned Zhuang within 1 or 2 generations. In contrast, Mandarin is coping well when it has to introduce new concepts from English, right, such as, sorry, we're jumping a bit too fast, sorry. No great leap forward in this country ever. So, yeah, every chemical element, for instance, in the periodic table has a well-localized Chinese name, such as we see radium, which translated as lei, or from which derived laser, which is actually unrelated to the radium element, but it's translated as radiance from the radium oil. Chlorine, for chlorine, we create a new character for it. Basically, it's based on gas and green, and you can know that chlorine is the kind of yellowish green. And even Taylor Swift, as is better known as Mei Mei in China, a name that has deep connection with Chinese culture. It both brings the resonance of pretty or younger sister, but ultimately unlucky somehow. I'm not quite sure. But I find it funny, but this is actually very natural for a well-localized language. See, if we can localize Taylor Swift into Chinese in the Mandarin this way, why can't we do the same for Zhuang? Why do people say Zhuang and or Yi or Uyghur it's falling behind the time and it's not fit for expressing new concepts? Yeah. The schooling system also fosters a one-directional adoption of languages. There are Uyghur medium schools in Chinese medium and Chinese medium schools in Xinjiang. But whereas Chinese is widely taught in Uyghur medium schools, no Uyghur curriculum is offered in Chinese medium schools. The result is that many Uyghur native speakers become bilingual, while fewer and fewer ethnic Chinese ever learn to speak Uyghur. You may ask, why is this a matter of concern? Why? Since Mandarin is the official language of China, why should one expect a Mandarin speaker to learn Cantonese, Uyghur, or Zhuang, even though he or she lives among these people? The answer is, there's nothing wrong for a minority ethnic to learn Mandarin in order to gain access to a better life and wider world. What is wrong is that this bilingualism in the contact areas is now overwhelmingly one-sided. That Mandarin speakers no longer view the need as occurred does, as I referred to in the start of the lecture, to become multilingual. A widespread misconception is that some languages are not suitable to express sophisticated ideas and fail to fit into modern life and will inevitably die out. Linguists have long believed that every natural language is semiotically omnipotent, which means that given enough freedom to develop, any language can fully grasp and express any idea or concept from myth to quantum physics in its own terms. Impoverishment of the language is the result, not the cause, of the cultural, social, and economic disadvantageous status of its speakers. In other words, we have this language called Nuosu, or better known in Chinese as Yi, right? Has about 2 million native speakers. The Nuosu people lag behind in socio-economic terms, not because the language does not meet the requirement of modernity, and even we can magically turn them into perfect Mandarin speakers overnight. It does not solve the problem at all. To the contrary, the fact that Nuosu language lacks means to describe modern concepts is a reflection of the disadvantageous status of the Nuosu people in society. One-sided bilingualism, in fact, hinders development in Nuosu and Zhuang, making them more inadequate in various domains, and in the long run, encourages younger generations to abandon the minor languages and become monolingual Mandarin speakers. Inequality between languages is, after all, inequality between speakers. On this matter, this country, Ireland, offers a lesson that we can learn from. At the beginning of the 19th century, the Irish language was still widely spoken throughout Ireland by millions of native speakers. So this is a map showing the decline of the Irish language in the past 200 years. You see, at the beginning of the 19th century, the green areas is where Irish spoken as a native language, and now this is a situation that we all know very well. However, in the beginning of the 19th century, as is the case in part of China, Irish speakers highly coincided with the poor and the illiterate. The situation was worsened with the penal law and the Great Famine, exactly because Irish speakers had neither the right or the means to defend themselves against such adversity. The result is that by the beginning of the 20th century, Irish was confined to remote corners of the island. Even after the establishment of the Free State and the sanctification of Irish as a national language, for a long time, many Irish-speaking parents actually only spoke to their children in English, in order that, in fear that they might be stigmatized speaking Irish. Compared to Uyghur, Irish has the prestige of being required to be learned by native English speakers, but the cultural and economic inequality is extremely difficult to manage where language diversity has already been impoverished, and the vast majority of Irish people now are more than native monolingual English speakers. Despite all efforts, the latest census shows that only 70,803 speakers, including myself, speak Irish daily outside the school system, falling 4% from the number of 2011. Even the Gaeltacht, the last stronghold of native Irish speakers, only 32% of people living there speak Irish daily outside of the school system. Yeah, I need to say that. Yes, but why not? Right? Some may argue that even there are reasons to support the reduction of language diversity. The Babel Tower is a mighty metaphor in which language diversity is regarded as a source of confusion and misunderstanding, a very obstacle for humankind to cooperate and to reach the star. We are wasting too much on translating documents that have nothing productive but chance of errors. If it is not blind nationalism, why should we hang on to other languages where English gets you everywhere and is sufficient to express anything you need? If we follow this line of thought, language diversity should be eliminated. Multilingualism is only allowed when a person is adopting English. You cannot abandon your native language because it's so ingrained in you, but let it stop in you. Don't teach it to your children. In a few generations, we the humankind are all speaking English. Great, how great is that? Well, or a Creole mixture of Mandarin and English, as some Chinese sci-fi writers use. The key issue is that, firstly, as I have said, languages are equally capable innately, and disparity in the effectiveness of languages only reflects inequality between speakers. In an idealized society where every ethnic speech community has equal rights and opportunities, all languages should coexist in a dynamic balance. Multilingualism should be well developed, and no one language would prevail over the others. Elimination of language diversity, therefore, indicates concentration of power into the hands of certain ethnics or classes and unfair treatment to other members of the society. A not so remote example of which is the loss of the numerous Australian Aboriginal languages under pressure of European settlers. Due to historical and thousands of other reasons, equal rights and opportunities are not yet available to all, but we should endeavor for a more equal world rather than defending the status quo or to worsen it with social Darwinism. Secondly, language is not only a communicative tool, but also the way to perceive and change the world. Without language, one is unable to go ever beyond the cognitive stage of a baby, and different languages provide possibilities to understand and interact differently, both by means of their own surface structures or via their respective natural and cultural background. A poutine is not simply potato vodka, as we know, and the dreamy feeling of loss in déjà vu cannot be expressed in full by already seen. We travel, we sport, we try out different restaurants or relationships to enrich our lives, and languages just do the same and serve the same end. Languages are the gateway to diverse human experiences taught in their own right. The impoverishment of language diversity is tantamount to the undermining of our humanity itself. In this sense, it's both as an indication of degrees of equality and as a means to enrich our humanity, language diversity is a basic human right. If we agree that members of society should be treated equally and justly, we should also treasure and encourage our language diversity. So, as a special request of the organizers, I'm going to read out an Irish poem by Ewan McDonald, together with another speaker, Yen, and who will be reading out my translation in Chinese. And this poem is by Ewan McDonald, and as many of the Irish guests here may know her, she is one of the, well, in my opinion, one of the greatest Irish poets in our time, and unfortunately her poem has been chosen many times in the Artest leading cert Irish papers, so maybe we have a mixed feeling about her. But anyway, I still think this is a good poem. Maybe I'll read out the Irish version. Knop. Tron knop Ermo in Mas Gnaverlich Saganjach eer Gute, Iloren Gnog is Nagargage, wie es Long Bom. Honig van Goed, Koel de Lang. Heetjen talen dingen, Jentjen bellen, Morne als Kjan, Jasna Au. Honig het Gala, Heetje Gelager, Goede de Goel, en Glee Forum Saturn. Jentjen Eva, Moher in de Chine. Dielas Marat, Arkan Clean. Malarities wool and doel dahine. Goes is knal.
骨头，我曾经是一根骨头，躺在原野上，混迹于其他骸骨，在荒僻的沙漠里，乐岩遍地。我赤裸，雪白，那风临近，一阵气息，把灵魂催进了我，将我造成一个女人，雕琢自亚当的一根肋骨。狂风来临，如此强劲，我听见你的声音在雷电中唤我，将我造成夏娃，半族之母。为了我的儿女，我卖掉了生来的权利，我用一个苹果交换最原初的欲望，而我仍是一根骨头。
And I would like to welcome our second speaker tonight. She is Ms. Jane McKenna. She is the founder of the LauraLynn Foundation, and she tonight is going to tell us a story about Laura.
Hello.
Hi everybody, it's lovely to be here, and I was delighted to be invited to come along, having met parents and others along the way. It was lovely. I could probably stand here for about an hour with and tell you stuff, but I know I've been timed. I'm afraid to look over that way, so I'd better get on with it. I suppose I'll just start at the very beginning, really. Brendan and I were 6 years married when we had Lynn, our older daughter, and obviously she was a wonderful joy to our lives. She was born healthy and everything was fine with her, and she went through primary school. She loved her own company, Lynn. I suppose she was an only child for nearly 9 years, so she was quite happy in her own company, but she was also very popular in a very quiet sort of way. She loved school and she did drama and she loved that too, and she could actually sing. She had a voice, unlike me. But one of her greatest wishes was to have a little sister. She was always talking about that. So when she was nearly 9, that wish came true, and we had our little Laura. Not planned or unplanned that way, it's just the way it happened. And we were delighted, of course, and again Laura was going to bring great joy, and did. But sadly, on the day after Laura was born, we were told that she had a serious heart defect. Tetralogy of Fallot is the actual thing, but it's basically a hole in the heart and narrowing of the arteries. And she went straight over to Crumlin, and we were told by the consultant there, I remember him saying to us, it's one that should be fine, she should come through it okay, she won't be a world-class athlete. So we said, that's fine, we didn't want a world-class athlete, we just wanted a healthy little girl. So we had every hope that she would survive. So when she was 7 months old, she went in for the first surgery, and it was Maurice Nelligan. I don't know if any of you knew Maurice Nelligan. He was a lovely man, he's gone now. And she went in on a Wednesday, and the surgery was done, but something went wrong, we didn't know what. So she literally had to go back to theatre the next day, and she was only 7 months old. She was relatively okay size, because for a heart child she was a good eater. A lot of heart children are not very good eaters. But anyway, he opened and closed her several times, and eventually realised that the shunt that he had put in, that's what the surgery was for, to kind of get her to a bigger stage for the main operation. A clot had gone through the shunt, and really last minute he saved her life. He was really a great man, and we had her still there because we didn't actually think she'd get through. But because of that, she was on ventilation for a long time and in ICU and stuff. And her health did go down a bit. She was quite sick, and she took fits and various things. So really, you know, we got her out in that time, but we'd be only out and we'd have to go back again. And ready, and unfortunately again, a seriously ill child came in, so naturally that child took precedence, so we were cancelled again. And you know, it sounds strange to say maybe, but we were devastated because you're all ready and you sort of want to get this done. Anyway, we didn't have to wait too long. The next day came up on the 13th of August. And Lynn had been away that summer. She was 13 at this stage, and she had been away with friends in Spain for a month. They had a place over there. And then when they came back, I was looking, because we didn't know again, we thought possibility of being cancelled. So we spent the day, well, the morning, and Brenda came in around, I suppose, lunch hour, and it wasn't looking great, so we weren't sure we were going to be cancelled again. But anyway, he decided he'd pop off home and collect Lynn. We just told her to go home. We didn't have mobile phones. I think it might have been just out, but we didn't have one. But anyway, he wasn't long gone when they decided that Laura, and her last words, we rang from the nurse's station, and she just said to Lynn, "Goodbye, Lynnie, I'm going to get fixed." I'll never forget those words, not knowing at that time that they would be her last words. But we went anyway to theatre. I had a bit of an episode in theatre, not very pleasant, but too long to go into, and just quite upsetting. But again, I didn't know at that stage that it was going to be the last time I'd see my little girl alive. Anyway, when I came out, a friend of mine who was over at Missions in Crumlin, Maura, she had worked there for many years. She had been a nurse and had kind of gone into the admin end. She was waiting for me because she knew I had gone up. And we had some tea and that, and Brendan and Lynn arrived in, and we went to the canteen. Lynn was starving because she'd come straight from school. But it was funny because Brenda and I just said, look, her age, you know, she's had late nights, that sort of thing. I didn't pay much attention, and Lynn herself wasn't complaining. But anyway, we mentioned it to Maura because she had the nursing background, and she did say, yeah, she looks a bit peaky, but, you know, you've enough on your plate. But we knew we'd be waiting around for hours. You know, we knew it certainly wouldn't be quick what was going on. So we decided to get Lynn checked out, and Lynn didn't have any problem with that while she wasn't actually complaining. So we did that in casualty, and then we went to the old hallway and just said, well, we couldn't sleep, we didn't know what was going on. About 11 o'clock we were called up to theatre to be told that things weren't great, that Laura was seriously ill, but we knew that anyway. But about 3 o'clock in the morning, we went back down. You didn't know what to be doing, you were going up and down, and 3 o'clock in the morning we were called back up, and instead of improving, she was actually failing. And by 9 o'clock the next morning, unfortunately, they told us that she was brain dead. And it was, you know, it was just a nightmare, and at the same time we were thinking of Lynn downstairs, very sick now too. Anyway, there's nothing you can do, but just, I suppose when you look back, people often say, how did you do, what did you do, what did you think? I really don't know, because I suppose at the time you just put one foot in front of the other because you have to, and for Lynn we had no choice. So sadly Laura did die. I always feel she died the day before because she never woke up. And we did what we had to do around that. I won't go into it all because there isn't time, but you know, it was terrible. And poor Lynn at this stage as well. And Lynn also knew how sick Lorraine was, obviously, because she had been to see her a few times. Anyway, she went through her 8 months of treatment, as it was at that time. The protocol was 8 months, and she was in remission. She did it okay, you know, she had lots of ups and downs. She didn't get too affected with the chemo, except for the hair, but she was okay about that. She got a friend to shave off her hair when it started to fall out. There was no point. And she wore a cap on and off, but she really didn't bother. She didn't bother with a wig. She kind of just got used to it. She went into school when she could, because she loved to go to school. I suppose she loved it more then because she just wanted to get away from being ill and not want to know about that. And apparently a nun said to her one day, "Take off that cap." And she said, "No, I won't." And she didn't tell her why, but Lynn wouldn't suffer fools gladly. But the nun obviously didn't know she was sick. But anyway, she just challenged her and kept the cap on. But she was delighted when she was in remission, and she got 5 months in remission. Sadly, only 5 months, because before the next Christmas she relapsed. And I remember thinking, could she not have just had this Christmas? It was shortly before Christmas. So the only answer then, her consultant staff. So I remember talking to Amos that night, and we just said, how are we going to tell her? Now, everything was open with Lynn. She was very, she had a great relationship with Amos. She always wanted things to be straight, and she was probably quite advanced for her 15 years. And we could have told her, but for whatever reason, we felt it was better for him. So we went over next day, and Amos, she sat with us in front of him, and he did say, "I'm sorry, Lynn, the leukemia is back, and you are going to die." And I remember he said to me afterwards, "Did I say the right thing?" But it's strange, he did, because she would have known anyway, obviously, and it was the only way to do it with Lynn. It's not for every child and not for every parent. But she cried, she just cried, and she just said, "How long have I got, and why will I die?" And Inga said, "Well, you might have anything up to 8 weeks, but we knew that wasn't going to happen," and she knew too. And your body would just wind down. So we left that hospital. I'll never forget walking down that ramp and just thinking, you know, nobody in this world can help her. Nobody can save her, and I couldn't even do it. And as a parent, you would do anything. And I remember when we went home, the three of us, she seemed to take it okay, strangely. And when I went home, she said, "Mum, you need to get on with life, you and Dad. It's okay." I mean, I don't know at 15 how she had the courage she had, but she really had amazing courage. And to this day, it's her courage, I suppose, that keeps me going. Anyway, strangely enough, she got almost 3 weeks. And really, again, it might seem strange to say, but we had a wonderful 3 weeks. I mean, these are the memories that we have and we hold. She did a lot of it for us, I'd say, but she was physically able to and mentally capable of doing it. We had a wonderful time. We went to see the famous Westlife, friends knew them. Packed us off, friends were wonderful. Again, this is where the kindness and the support and the connections come in. They sent us off, and we were spent in not just the meet and greet, it was in the dressing room with the lads. People paid for all this for 5 of us to go and to stay over there. And the lads were lovely, and they sang a song for her and everything. And I mean, she really had a wonderful time. She enjoyed that concert, and particularly meeting the lads and going backstage and doing all that, which others didn't get. So we were very grateful for that. We went to Drummond for our, and Lorraine, she called Lorraine her cousin, even though they weren't blood related. Maybe she felt they were somewhere, they were waiting. She wasn't particularly religious, but the priest that she liked in our parish, who was a very open type of priest, she asked him to come and call to the house a couple of times in that last week. And he told me afterwards, really, the only thing he would tell me, I don't know what else she talked about, but he said, she wasn't afraid and she knew what was happening, and she just was worried how we would survive without her and Laura. So even then she was thinking of that. She wrote on her to everybody that had done anything for her. When she couldn't write, I wrote for her. And then she made her funeral arrangements. She did all of that. She really just, whatever, but we would have, and we would have felt very bad about it. So I'm so glad that she did get it. But that's what led me, it's actually Lynn herself that led me to the hospice, because I thought, I had been to adult hospices and I thought they were wonderful. I know they're sad, and I don't think they're so sad anymore. In fact, they're full of life as well, the adults, and often sadly younger people. But they do make the best of life, and people go in and out of them. They don't always just go in to die. But I always thought they were amazing in what they did, as opposed to if home is not possible, and hospital. Hospitals are wonderful, but they're not for dying in if you can avoid it, and I know it's unavoidable sometimes. But anyway, as I say, she got her wish. But I started to think about it and realised then that there wasn't a children's hospice here. And I did the research in literally England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. And I suppose I was focusing on the death and the end and the choice at the end. But in actual fact, what I saw was the living, the life, the home from home, the family from home, the caring, the sharing. It was absolutely amazing. And I suppose what I didn't realise was, because my girls, and I'm very grateful for that, they did have a life, both of them. Laura had a couple of good years and happy years for a hard child, and Lynn had 13 years of perfect health. So I'm always very grateful for that, because the children I saw are the children that are in LauraLynn now, those children. They're 24-hour care, they're very complex conditions, usually physically and mentally, for various different reasons. And they're palliative really, and they live sometimes very short lives, sometimes longer lives, but it is very, very difficult situation. We know one family, we were only speaking to somebody about it earlier, and they're still there. Their little boy is 7 now. He was very sick last year, but he's still hanging in. And they love him and they never want him to go, and I can understand that. But they have another little boy, and life is really, it's just literally constant care. And we watched them. We went to see them in Crumlin last year when he was sick, and even there with the nurses they had to. So they love LauraLynn because they can go and stay with Martin. They can go away with little Patrick or do something else and know that Martin is loved and looked after the way they look after him. So it really is, it's all about choice, but it's all about being the other family. It's not hospital. It is home from home. And it's about making the memories, because that's the only thing that we've got left, and the memories are so important, which they really are. So honestly, for us, it's amazing, the journey. It's very sad. I miss our parents every minute of every day, but I feel them. I'm not particularly religious, and I don't know what's after this life. I don't think any of us really do. But I feel that the spirits live on, and my girls' spirits are around them. Within me. I have to believe that, and I hope it's true, but anyway, that's what I think. But LauraLynn is a wonderful place, and good for, people supporting and doing what they do. We could never have got it up and running, and we could certainly never keep it going. But I know from families that it really makes the difference in their lives, and a lot of people here have done the mini marathon for us the last couple of years, and we really appreciate that, because literally, I say it all the time, every cent truly does count, and it does make a difference in people's lives. So it's lovely to have been here tonight, and I know the story is sad. There's a lot more to it, and that's why I always said I would write the book, and my friend Kathy here has written 2 books. She may come and talk to you again at some time in a different circumstance, but I just said one book, I'll never be writing another, but I did always want to write this. And it's a happy book. I was telling to a few people about it earlier. It is really a happy book, because it's about the life and the life the girls had, and it was happy. And then friends have written in it, and families from LauraLynn, whose little ones have come, and the earlier families have written, and Lynn's friends have written. So it is lovely. It's a lovely memory to them. So if anybody's interested in a percentage of what I raised from the book goes to LauraLynn. I would have given it all, but my work through the years was voluntary always. I never took any money. So my friend said, I think the book should be partly for you. So I suppose I had to agree with them, because I didn't work. I did work through some of the years, and when I look back at it now, because it was hard going, and I was pretty much on my own for the first probably 6-7 years, and I managed to raise, and that's the generosity of people, I managed to raise about 5.5 million. We basically raised the money to build the hospice, and then we got the opportunity to merge with Children's Sunshine Home, where LauraLynn stands, and it is LauraLynn now. So people, again, it's astounding, the kindness and the generosity and the connections. I know that the team, we'll be talking later, and the connections from one person to another, from one thing to another, it really is. And we've had a wonderful journey, and we're lucky we have lovely friends and family, so that does help sustain us. So thank you very much for listening to me tonight.
Sat by the river and
opinion on this manifestation. And so now I would like to welcome our next speaker, Mr. Darragh Doyle, who is the head of community for FoodCloud. And he is going to talk about how we can tackle the problem of food waste and how food brings us all together. Thank you.
There is an Irish phrase that says "folly that," and what it means is basically how do you follow something like that. Can I get another round of applause for Jane and for everybody involved in LauraLynn and the Sunshine House? Because my dad went to the Sunshine House way back in the day, and I know how much it means to people. So can we just get a little round of applause?
渔夫、运输工人们和厨师们的辛勤劳动，小鱼的生命被放在垃圾。
There are certain things that unite all of us in this room and all around the world. There's stories, there's language, there's kindness, there's love, there's food. And one of the things about food is that we all eat it, I'm assuming, and it's quite an extraordinary thing when you get to share food. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. What's that? It's Darragh. Great. Next slide, please. Great. What's that? What's... Oh, I'm going backwards. There we go, that's fine. What's that? Come on. You are... Don't you said it's China, it's correct. It's actually China, Mongolia, and Kazakhstan. I'm not trying to catch you out. Whatever. What's that? Strawberry. We're doing well so far. food waste is one of the stupidest things we as human beings do. It is absolutely ridiculous when you think about it. So going back to that diagram, that's basically how many times Ireland would fit into that area. To give you an idea of the size of what we're talking about. So every day we waste food that would be, we waste, every day we use land that is the equivalent of China, Mongolia and Kazakhstan to grow food that will never be eaten. It basically goes from farm to the bin. Not farm to fork to bin, farm to bin. Which is awful. Awful, awful. 30% of all of the food wasted worldwide goes from the farm to landfill. It is one of the single biggest causes of global warming that we have. And obviously there's a huge economic problem as well. And if food waste was a country, it would be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases. So we know that throwing food away is stupid. And there are places all around the world that are now finally doing something about this, which is good. This, I think, came from India. Look at the judgment in her eyes. Look at how unhappy she looks at you when you're wasting food. That's not an expression that we like. And no matter where parents were from, I grew up in a small rural village in County Kilkenny, my parents would not like if I was wasting food. So we may be familiar with images like this, or whatever cuisine that we're eating. And whatever our parents look like, they want us to finish everything. And that is actually why the Chinese Clean Plate project started recently, which was clean your plate and make people happy. So whether you have the stereotypical Asian father who disapproves, whether your mother is distraught that you're eating food, whether she looks like that or this, or this, which is more so. I suppose we know we have a responsibility to ourselves and our planet to not waste food and do what we can with it. And then we know that there are 795 million children in the world who are hungry. There are 1 in 8 children in Ireland living in food poverty. It's not a very cheery presentation or a very cheery statistic, but it is an important one. If we reduced food waste by 25%, we would feed the world. 25%. If we stopped food waste for one day, we would have enough food to feed everybody who's starving in the world. It's kind of scary. It's not just happening abroad. It's not happening just in Russia or in China or in Africa or whatever. I want to show you a little video I took in a field in Drogheda earlier this year. So this, I was on a project called Gleaning, and this is a tractor and a trailer that are harvesting carrots in the ground. And obviously I'm staying away from the tractor because I don't want to get knocked down. Health and safety always first. In farms all around Ireland over the summer, what happens is harvesters go and they pick up food. And after the harvester has been, you will find lots and lots of vegetables in the ground, perfectly good to eat, but because they weren't a certain size or a certain shape, they will never go to be eaten by people. And they will stay in the ground and they will rot there. Because that's how the technology works. So that was just some of the carrots that we rescued that day in a project called Gleaning. As I said, 30% of the food in the world is wasted. 795 million people do not have enough to eat. Enter FoodCloud. So FoodCloud has a simple vision. A world where no good food goes to waste. A world where we look after the food that we are given. We work in the UK and Ireland. We currently work with about 7,500 charities, connecting businesses, retailers and producers who have surplus food to those who need it. It's a very simple process, as you can see. Okay, I'll make it simple, right? Supermarkets have food, charities need food, people eat food. It is that simple. So, we have Peter on our left here. Peter's in Tesco on Camden Street. And Peter says, I have bread or I have produce that is supposed to be sold today. After it is not sold today, I can't sell it anymore. It's going to waste. On our right, we have two ladies who are in a charity who need food. So, Peter goes on to the FoodCloud app and he says, I have fresh fruit and veg, I have bakery products, eggs, groceries, chilled products or non-food. And these are available. On the other side of things, people in a charity get a text message going, there is food available for you, would you like it? And that's what we do. We connect those charities. So the retailers are happy because they're not spending money getting rid of food waste. They have an ethical reason to be doing what they're doing and everything, and the charities are happy because they're getting food. It was started in Trinity College by two young entrepreneurs. I shouldn't really say this because it's kind of bad, but my CEO was born in 1990. Yeah, the other one not long afterwards. So it's been quite interesting for me working with two brilliant young women who have made such an impact in this country. So it started at one farmer's market, and we've now gone very, 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 very much around the country and around the UK, as you've seen. So, and where it really kicked off was a national partnership with Tesco in the UK. So if you go into your local Tesco store in the evenings and you see them taking food off the shelves and putting it aside, that's for charities that have been recruited and found by FoodCloud. So we work with Tesco, Aldi and Lidl in Ireland, and we're always looking for more retailers or food producers. And in the UK we work with an organisation called FairShare that have a huge amount of food banks around the country, and we work with Tesco and Waitrose there. Last week we announced that we had reached the milestone of 25 million meals gone to charity. From two young girls with an idea of an app to 25 million meals gone, with an approximate saving to charities of €34.4 million. That's money that they don't have to spend on food bills. They can now spend it on a different program or different resources for the people that they are helping. We move 28 meals every minute. At its peak, a busy McDonald's will move 20. We're doing better than McDonald's. And we're saving so many tons of carbon saving. I mean, it's quite inspiring to work for an organisation that is making such a big difference. this is where I work. We have warehouses in Tala in Dublin, and we have ones in Ardmore in Galway and in Little Island in Cork. And basically, as you'll see, there's rows there and food comes in and food goes out. So I did a little walk around today, and this is some of the food. So everything from M&Ms to toasting waffles from McVitie's to what's on our left there, to cup of soups. This is all food that is good. It has not gone past any dates. It is not damaged. It is not in any way. This is food that would otherwise have gone to waste. So there's Lucozade, there's soft drinks, there's chocolates, there's rice, there's beans. There's a lot of foods that you would buy in the supermarket, or charities would have to buy in the supermarket, but for one reason or another, they are not for sale, and they come to us, and we give them to charities. So that's where our hubs are based around the country. And FoodCloud Hubs basically takes food from the retailers or producers or manufacturers or farms, stores it in one of those 3 warehouses, and then either delivers it or has it collected by charities around the country. And you know, we get visitors from time to time. I will say that was before he was the Taoiseach, so there's that. We believe very strongly in the food waste hierarchy. And the food recovery hierarchy says, at the very top, we need to stop producing so much food. We need to stop producing so much food. And farmers and producers and manufacturers are put under a huge amount of pressure from retailers who say, oh, we need this much food, but they don't sell it. So again, retailers are now using that data to say, actually, we may not need as much food. If we don't reduce food, we think that the food that is wasted should go to people first. Then to animals, then for industrial use, then for composting, and a lot of our food goes to composting, and the last thing that you should be doing is putting it in landfill or in a bin, because it's so damaging to our environment. I get asked a lot for food waste tips, or what we can do to stop wasting food, or how we can help stop wasting food. Well, one of the things that I'm going to tell you about is stopfoodwaste.ie, and it is actually this week's Stop Food Waste Week. So stopfoodwaste.ie is from the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. They're a group that we work with, and they have really great tips on their website that will help you avoid food waste. There are things like it will show you what foods we throw out and how often. There's, I actually am quite amazed that potatoes are the vegetables that Irish people waste the most. It wouldn't happen in my house, I can tell you that. But anyway. One of the things that I really love is that they have a how-to-go shopping list. And a how-to-go shopping list is really important. Start by looking in your fridge. Start by eating something, actually. Eat before you go. You're like me, when you go shopping hungry, you'll buy everything. Give me the 2 for 1, give me everything. And all that. And then see what's in your cupboards. See what's in the back of your shelves. And when you go shopping, take all of the stuff from the back of your shelves, pull it towards the front so you will use it, and put the stuff you just bought back behind. There are simple things that you can do. Salads, oh my God. So I took this in our hub today. Salads are a huge thing. Many of you may recognize this. Bag salads are a curse. Now, only buy bagged salads if you're really going to eat it. Otherwise, a lot of it goes to waste. And another thing that I want to tell you about, which will help you avoid an expression, something like that, are dates. Right? There are 2 dates that you need to know about. Best before and use by. Best before and use by, okay? And it will help you with a lot of waste. Because some people see that food has gone past its best before date, and they will throw it in the bin, whereas that is not what you should do. Best before means it's great that it's here now and it's on our shelves and it looks good in the supermarket and it's fine. Use by means do not eat this food past this date. Here's a very simple thing. How do you tell if food is okay to eat? What's the first thing that you do, other than looking at the date? Smell it. Exactly. But people see the date and they go, I can't eat that. I won't eat that. There's a lot of people who will see a little bit of mould on cheese and throw out the entire block of cheese, when in fact that's one of the things that cheese does. There's a lot of people that will see a little bit of brown on a banana, or a banana will not be perfectly yellow, and throw out the banana, where that's what bananas do. It's fine. There's loads of things that you can do with your food. Remember, use by is the one that you really, really need to pay attention to. The best before is just a nice to have. I really think that we should have just one date or a kills by date, and then so it's that. There are simple things: shop more often, buy less food, make simple crowd-pleasing meals, get creative with leftovers, and shop your plantains and freezer. Again, on stopfoodwaste.ie and on our website, you'll find a lot of things. One of the things that we get involved in every year, and it's an invitation for everybody in this room to get involved in, is a project called Street Feast. And the idea of Street Feast is that you will get your neighbours and friends together to come and have some food. Whoop, that's me. I thought that was you. I'm nearly finished. I would love for my Chinese neighbours, my Irish Chinese neighbours, my Asian neighbours, however you refer to yourself, to invite me to come for food. I would love to invite you to come for food with us. I would love us to share a meal together as part of that human connection thing, as part of that breaking bread, as part of that being together and going, yeah, we might be all different, but you know what? There's some of us who know Newland and Gonal's poetry. There's some of us who are bringing children and families together to enjoy what time that they can get. And there's some of us who want to find out more about love actually, or do some of the great things that we've seen earlier. FoodCloud believes that what we can do is help save resources, create jobs, alleviate hunger, conserve water, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Ultimately, FoodCloud wants to put itself out of business. Ultimately, FoodCloud wants there not to be a need for FoodCloud. It's a utopian idea, but maybe we can help make that happen. One of the things that you can do is follow us online. There are loads of places that you'll find us. Just Google FoodCloud. Please tell people about us. If you see food being wasted, please say, oh, I know somebody who can help with that. But this guy, Darragh, nice dresser, terrible talker, talked for ages, went way over time, but he's there. You can find me on Twitter. And then, just thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Darragh. I think that a lot of ladies here want to lose weight. So they have become more covered up with shopping. Now we have enjoyed all the three speakers and their lovely speeches. I would like to now hand over the stage to the founder of Love Actually, Ms. Li Qian. She is going to host a panel discussion for the next hour, and let's hear some interesting thoughts and ideas from our speakers. Thank you.
Firstly, thank you for the three speakers, your inspiring and interesting speech. Good evening, everyone. My name is Qian Li, the founder of Love Actually charity group. It's my great pleasure here to host the next session panel discussion. So 4 years ago, a good friend of mine, Ray, who used to be a sales director in a high-tech company in Beijing, was diagnosed with breast cancer. I can never forget the moment when we were standing on Chang'an Street in Beijing, and she looked so weak and pale. She said to me in tears, "Qian, I don't have a future anymore." I was heartbroken. And I said, and I hugged her and made up my mind that I will help her. So when I returned to Ireland, I set up an online group, named it Love Actually Group. and I organized the first charity event, hiking in Glenloch to raise funds for her. 4 years later, last August, I went to Beijing to visit her, so she has changed a lot. That's her in the costume, actually. Yeah, she was actually in the other photo. That's my daughter, anyway. So she actually opened her own art studio for children in Beijing, and I was so happy and relieved to know that she has, she get her life back on track and move on pursuing her dreams. Then, so initially, I was doing all this on my own, just like anybody who set up their own business or organization. And then in this most memorable and biggest event, fundraising event in 2015, it's a summer fair. I got to connect with 5 amazing, capable, and kind-hearted women. Here they are. So some of the photos actually taken 20 years ago, but we actually couldn't, because we worked so hard, and we didn't actually have one single photo for 6 of us. So then we said, okay, let's Photoshop one. So can you guess what's in common with 6 of us? Can anybody guess? Yeah, we're all Chinese looking, and we're all women, and we all are professionals, and we all have 2 kids in average, except one. And we like to have a bit of fun, but most importantly, we like to help others, and we are charitable. So in the past few years, firstly, they decided to stay with me and has been staying with me ever since. So in the last few years, we worked together, organized a number of events, for example, like Chinese New Year Gala, badminton tournament, and so on. So they have been working really hard on this, but please allow me to take this opportunity to ask 5 of them to stand up and wave to the audience and have a good, let's please have a good applause for their commitment. And I want to say a special thank you to Vicky as well. Can you stand up? She is actually our project lead for this. So, without their help, we won't be here today. So, from 0 to 1, 1 to 6, 6 to 100, small to big, humble to mighty. I think this leads to the same topic of tonight's panel discussion, the power of connections. I think we are just without connection, we're just individuals in this society, in isolation. Without connections, we won't be gathered here tonight. But with common ground, with connections, with business interests and virtues and values, we have all been brought together. Dr. Chu, by connecting himself with Irish language and literature, promotes cultural exchange between Ireland and China. Jane explained how LauraLynn connects to the minor group of children with life-limiting conditions. And then Darragh works for an expert of connections, FoodCloud, which connects with charities, supermarkets, retailers, and low-income families. So I think connections can generate creativity, collaborations, resource reallocation. So that's the topic we're going to discuss later, how the connections can generate power and magic. Thank you. So before we jump into the next panel discussion and we get the stage ready, let's enjoy a beautiful piece of music played by Aoife. Where's Aoife? She's actually the daughter of our deputy chairperson, Sophie. So let's welcome Aoife to today. Okay, so let's start. It's the first time actually I host a panel discussion, so I say I'm more nervous, but please relax. Just pretend we're in a restaurant or in a private setting. Okay, so let's start from Dr. Chu. I want to know, so you came all the way from Ireland, from China to Ireland. There are so many languages in the world. How did you get connected to Irish? Sorry. You have to keep the microphone here.
Sorry, yeah.
Can everybody hear, actually?
Yeah, it's very easy. But honestly, I don't only get connected to Irish. Irish is just one of the fields that I studied. I was born to a multilingual, let's say, family with a Turkish background, and also I was born with Canton, so it's raised on many languages. So and also I picked up the language along the way. That area is just amazing. It's a crossroad. Guangdong is like a crossroad of cultures and thoughts. So well, being trained as I was in law school actually before.
Oh, you studied law actually.
Yes.
Oh wow. Apparently he's a genius.
Actually, well, my father always said it's a bad choice because all my classmates are making 6 figures now. But anyway, there's a lot of languages in my heart, and I think that it's one of the most complicated and fascinating human phenomena that ever occurs to me. So I come to study Irish first in England and then here. So I think it's a great way when once you get really immersed in the language, you start to listen to the tradition, listen to the culture, and try to dig out what has been created and try to get connected, as you say, to all these great creations that the ancestors of the Irish have done. So I mostly focus on medieval Irish, which is actually one of the most well-developed vernacular in medieval Europe compared to other, say, Old French or Anglo-Saxon. Actually, the Old Irish, you should be proud that it has the richest cultural heritage in the whole Europe. So I think that's one way that I get connected to it.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So Jane, I know you set up LauraLynn in 2002, so in the last 16 years you've worked with many different people, you know, like parents, children, hospice, government, sponsors. So if you look back and look forward, how this power of connection has driven you and motivated you to go through so many years of hard work.
Yeah, I think it was like I said earlier, just the fact that, you know, everywhere I went in the beginning, just one thing led to another. I can honestly almost say that I never asked anybody for anything actually, but just literally, like, say, one of them to just go and people listen. And I suppose because I can, I do speak from the heart, and I have been there. I know what I'm talking about. I know what it means to people, and I think people get that kind of close to support and whatever. So I mean, just one thing literally led to another. I mean, there was one instance, I think I told you about this before.
Oh yeah, this is the magic, this connection. Let's hear this.
It was kind of fascinating. It was a doctor that was in the hospital, in Our Lady's Hospital there in Crumlin. Paul was his name, Paul McKenna. He's back here in Ireland as far as I know now. He keeps saying I must try and contact him. But anyway, he was a lovely guy. He really was probably only in his early 20s. They do their 6-month stints here, there, and everywhere. So he was probably in the first couple of years of, you know, his training and whatever. So he was there when they was first there. And I remember I used to say to her, God, I was only 10 years younger. She said, yeah, me 20 years or 40 years younger. And I think she was a few years older. But she had a great kind of rapport with Paul. So that's the children were very small children, and they all adored him as well. It was just something about him. I mean, they were all lovely, but there was something special about him. But anyway, he moved on, and it was very strange when she relapsed and she was back in. He actually came back to a different part of the hospital. I remember walking in the door about a day or two later, and was, you know, I just burst out crying, of course, and I said, what are you doing here? He said, what are you doing here? I suppose he knew. I remember going back down to Lynn, and she was thrilled with herself. It really gave her a lift. I said, guess who's back? He'll be down later, and he'll come to see her back. So for whatever reason, we kept in touch, and he rang me one day, this is after, obviously, he got my phone number somewhere, and he rang and he just said, how's the charity going? Now, I had only started, like, I wasn't that far into it, but I probably had about $500,000, which I thought was fabulous, and it was fabulous. But he said to me, how much have you raised to date? And I said that. I said, it's probably around $500,000. And he said, well, there's something that I think is going to happen. And it's a lot more than that. I remember thinking, more than $500,000. So I couldn't believe it. So anyway, well, the story basically is that his brother-in-law and the brother-in-law's father were looking after a will of some aunt, old aunt or something. And they have no children. And the husband had died and she died. And she left something like $3 million behind. And I don't know where the other money went, but we basically got $1 million. And I remember the day that the cheque came in my door at home, because I worked from home. I just couldn't believe that this was all in one cheque. It was amazing. So I never believed it. So that was something actually, you know. And he did write to me years later. He got married and he went off to the States. A lot of them do that and then go back and as consultants or whatever, they go away every 3 years. As he was gone up, he said he got a new woman, he got a new house, he got whatever. And then they had a little girl. I never named her Sinead because my name is Irish, but anyway, I think they have 2 children since. But he wrote them when they were leaving the States. I can't remember exactly where they were. And he sent me a card and he said, I found this photograph. I had a photograph of him and Lynn. I still have a copy of it up on you know, stuck up in the kitchen there. And I often look at it. And he said, I just looked at this photograph and I said to myself, how did anyone ever take me seriously as a doctor? I looked like a child. And he did. I mean, he really looked like a child, but he was young. But he was lovely. And I mean, that was one huge thing. Yeah. I mean, it was just amazing. But no, just in general, I mean, just people, people are so kind in this country because all the charities you see now, you know, everybody, it is just phenomenal, and I'm always floored to this day. We have a couple who again, this lady Fran rang me years ago. Again, it's in the early days. She got my number somewhere, I don't know. She'd heard me on a radio interview or something, and she said, I've written a few books, but I haven't done anything with them, but I might try and get them published or something. And she went on and on. She knows this, she laughs. And she was on, now I can talk, some would say talk for Ireland, but she can certainly talk for the world, I'd say. And I remember when I put down the phone and said, and all these years later, I don't know what year that was, say 10, 11, 12 years later, she's written 11 books, and she's on her 12th, and herself and her husband do all the, like the stands in the RDS and all the different places they travel around. Initially they went door to door selling books and did all stuff, and I mean they're actually in their 70s now, you wouldn't think. They do all the shows in the RDS, and they're close to $500,000 now. Wow. Because they give everything from books to charity. So, and you know, it's kindness, you see, when I go out to the RDS, I stand with them, you know, for a couple of hours, they stand for days on end. And people literally, I mean, even throw €50 into the box and stuff like that. Yeah. They don't take anything. Yeah. So yeah, that's the kindness and the connections with people.
I think it's what you do and kind of naturally draw people towards you. You're not, you know, you're not asking for it.
Yeah,
but they
just do it. Just another little connection when he put up his son there with Leo Varadkar. His father was actually our GP. No,
your GP?
Yeah, his father was ours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so nice for him. That's great. So thanks, Jane. Darragh, after your presentation, I think every time I have left over, I've been thinking of you. Yeah, your face will be in my mind forever. That's the impact. That's the impact you have on people. So okay, so Darragh, seriously, I'm gonna ask you. With FoodCloud, so obviously FoodCloud started from small, you know, from only connecting one or few, and then kind of connecting to hundreds, thousands of, you know, stakeholders into your platform. So how does it happen? Like this connection, how did it happen, and how important in your business model? Can you explain?
The people who are most important to FoodCloud right now are in the audience. They're the people who can connect us to all of the other people that they know, including the charities.
Yeah.
So for example, we give food to the Ronald McDonald House at Our Lady's Hospital in Cromwell, which is a place for parents who have sick children in the hospital. And there's so much that has happened in the last 20 years for children, for people, and whatever. And it's funny, I'm kind of hero worshipping here because I ended up volunteering in a place called Barrettstown because of LauraLynn.
Lynn was there. Lynn went as a sick child, and then Lynn went as a sick child, and then she went on bereavement for Laura. She wouldn't stay in Barrettstown forever, and I went on bereavement, so I experienced it. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
This is a typical example of power connection.
But so where it happens is somebody will say, I know somebody who is doing something.
Sure, yeah.
I know somebody who is raising money. Like, I think it's absolutely amazing that people will put themselves through hell and torture and early mornings and late nights to go out bloody running 25, 26 miles to raise money for something that they may not have a connection to. But again, as Jane said, that's kindness. And it all comes back to kindness. And FoodCloud has very, very much come back to kindness every time, because we found little charities who are doing amazing things with food. We hear about them. We tell that story to the food manufacturers, the retailers and the producers and say, give us your food, and they go, absolutely. Like, I remember when you came to visit FoodCloud's office last week, the week before, and I told you that there are children in Dublin who go to places that give them food, and a dish is put in front of them. And there are things on the dish that they don't know what they are, called vegetables. We can laugh, and it is funny, because I'm trying to tell it funny, but a lot of the food that they see is orange. It's nuggets, it's waffles, it's chips, and it's pizza. Because that's all their parents can afford, or think they can afford.
that's all their parents know how to cook, or that's actually all they can cook in their house. Because some people only have a microwave or a small oven, or can buy from the takeaway and everything. So there are so many children living in food poverty in this country. And sometimes it does take, as I said earlier, an invitation to go, come over for some food. But equally, and I think I told you this as well, I remember the first time I was brought to the Millennium Restaurant. Do you remember the Millennium Restaurant on South King Street? It was this Chinese restaurant that all of the Chinese people went to. And I was with a Vietnamese friend of mine, and he was like, we were handed the menus, and he said, no, 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 give me the real menu. We looked at the menu, obviously couldn't understand the thing, and dishes came out with eggs on boiling water and dumplings and things, and I was kind of going, this is magic. Look at what people are doing with food here. And when I walk into the Asian supermarket, I'm going, what is this? I want to know what this product is. So one of the really ways that people in this audience can connect is, if there are people who enjoy cooking, start using social media to tell us how to cook food, to share those foods, and tell us what goes into them, and all that. And it's even better if they're healthy. And it's even better if they're suitable for people who are undergoing medication or treatment or things like that.
Yeah, sure. So,
you know,
so you're saying food is also connecting people when it's powerful, bring everybody together.
In the same way with that poem from Nuala Ní Dhomhnaill, and you really should go and read some of her poetry, connected a lot of people here. And it's funny, because I was listening to it going, they have just translated this from Irish into English into Chinese, but of course you haven't. Did you do the translation?
Yes.
Did you do the translation from Australia to English? No, to Chinese.
Chinese, yeah. I know, yeah. That's great. So that's the connection. Now we're all connected. Right. So thank you, Darragh. So next question is a common question to ask the panelists. So with the connections you have, you obviously have utilized your connections and then influence people. So what impact do you think what you have done have for the community or for the society? Maybe start from Dr. Chu. And actually, I have a secret, because when we're promoting this event, we find out there's a big fan of Dr. Chu, has been following him for a long time, and so she's there somewhere. I don't know who she is, but
does he know about this?
So yeah, so I mean, and I was talking to Dr. Chu, and she was saying, well, I did a few things, but I don't know if I made an impact. And then I think, if not, you won't be here tonight, right? So yeah, so tell us.
Well, when you write something, of course, you don't really go out to knock on people's door and ask, have you read my book, and how did you feel about it? Well, I mean, the reason why I do those translations and stuff is, firstly, I think the poetry, the poems of Nuala Ní Dhomhnaill is beautiful, and it kind of transcends the barrier of languages. In the sense that what we were thinking about, okay, language might be barriers, like people who don't know Irish might have difficulties understanding and never have heard of Nuala Ní Dhomhnaill. On the other hand, language could be medium as well. I mean, if there wasn't a language called Irish, or Nuala herself wouldn't ever be able to express some of the very special and individual things via native language of her own in her career experiences. So in the sense that, as I said, a language actually enriches our experiences. So that kind of things create connection on the panels that we as human beings, we are so similar down to the essence, but at the same time we're so different as how we use our senses, how we use our languages to perceive and to touch the world. And also, language offer great consolation to people when you read good poetry, when you read about about description of an angel, and you immediately think about children, and think about all the good things in the world, flowers, and everything. All the good memories comes back to you. So, in a sense, it's somewhere we store our memories. In the sense that we live through languages, we connect our past, our future, and we connect other people's past and future via languages. So I think that's one of the meanings that languages bring to us.
Yeah, and what about Jane? Do you have any?
But just, I'm fascinated by the fact that you can speak Irish. It's wonderful, I really do, and what you've done is fantastic. I'm always saying that my brother he works for the UN and he lives in Geneva, and he speaks French. He had to learn to survive or whatever, and I'm always fascinated by it, and he says, oh, it's just one of those things. But I just think it's great, and it is, as you say, it can be, well, I suppose it's universal in a way anyway. And no, just really, I just think without connections, again, we wouldn't decide what you said, you know, we couldn't have done what we did. And literally like that, working connected to another person. And I think it's wonderful because we all have deep down, I hope that most of us have, the empathy and kindness and all of that. And especially for people who, you know, whatever way, they're not as lucky as us. So, you know, it's just amazing. And I just think to get out there and talk, that's what it does. And a meeting like that, I always say from one thing, something else will come, and it does, you know.
Absolutely. I think actually I meant to ask a question is, in the past 20 years, you know, the way people are connecting has changed dramatically, you know, with social media, with modern technology, the shared infrastructure. We're kind of more connected than ever. But do you think, you know, what's your opinion? Do you think we're more connected? And then how social media has played in the way, you know, you're connecting with Darragh as an expert.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not. It's a bit of an age thing as well. Yeah. Not good. And I think there's a very good side to it. Like obviously Facebook for the charity for LauraLynn side.
And you don't have an account with Facebook?
No, I'm not.
And Darragh is on Facebook every day.
Yeah, I need to know.
Oh really?
No, I don't know. It is great, yes, and it probably does connect people more. I suppose like that, you know, families and children have to go away now and stuff like that. It's brilliant that they have that connection that you wouldn't have had. As I say, when we were in the hospital in the early days, we didn't even have a mobile phone. They only started to come in. So it is wonderful in lots of ways if it's used, I suppose, in the right way. But there's a bad side to it as well. So that makes me think it can be very bad. I mean, when you look at what it can do to people and what it does, but it's not just, you know, for the right reason. So it's difficult one way.
Yeah. What do you think, Darragh?
Yes, it has made the world smaller, and as James said, there are good sides and bad sides to it. But one of the great things about social media is that you can put your phone down and you can step away from your screen and you can go and talk to people in real life. And one of the great things about social media is that you can decide to treat it with kindness. And you can use your social media to show nice things and good things. I'm not talking about now trying to be fake and being in Brand Thomas and being, you know, going on fancy holidays or anything like that. But I'm talking about, let's talk about my friend who has just done an amazing thing. She's run a marathon for LauraLynn. Yeah. So there's a brilliant song called Accentuate the Positive. And I believe on social media we can accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, and we don't have to mess with Mr. In Between. Because when we see examples of good things happening, we want to make good things happening. So I'm in this room and I'm going, God, let's say I could get 20 or 30 people together and invite a few people in and ask them to tell their story. And then suddenly you've got 100 new fans of the LauraLynn Foundation or 100 new fans of Nuala Gunno's poetry, you know. So amazing things can happen. So I think we are now coming to the stage where we can get to be educated about and choose what way we have to have social media. But the moment it starts getting negative for you, put it down, put it away.
You put your finger on to educate the younger people to use it properly. Yeah. Because that's where it's going wrong.
Very good. I think we're kind of running out of time, so let's take a few questions from the audience. There's
way up to back.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you? Sorry.
Well, this one here.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I think maybe when this room was built, panel discussion hasn't been invented, so that's why. So only have 2 microphones, unfortunately.
Oh, Alec. I'm just interested in the FoodCloud. You know, you're using the charity, but one of the
we can use that platform as a social media using it for service. Say some teacher want to do voluntary job can sign up as your service. Like you have food as one category, so we can use service as another category. It's invisible. So instead of you give that away food to the people needed, we could give away the service for the people needed. You know, for like hair and beauty, some service, or solicitor service, and teacher, that kind of service, all professional. They can give that free slot for the people needed, but they cannot affordable to use it. They can get a half price. I think that Groupon is a part of the idea. They're using this, but they make money, but they actually have to pay Google AdWords click. But instead you are on the charity, so you're not making profit like a Groupon, but actually you can using that platform to give that to the service. For the people, public can benefit for that because you made awareness on the social medias already, so people be aware of you already. So instead of that way, we could use that to helping the people.
Yeah, I think
that is the best job application I've got before. One of the yes is the short answer, and there's loads of things we could do. But food is so very important.
Yes.
And it is, we are a very small team. We are a very, very small team with very limited resources. So we have to start somewhere, and we're starting with food. And there are lots of places that people can find to volunteer and give services and give talks and all that kind of stuff. So send me your CV, or at least an email and say, look, this is what I've been thinking about, and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah.
Oh, you've got the microphone. Sorry, yeah.
Yes, sorry. I just have a question for Darragh. I think that this is mainly focused on the FoodCloud.
Yes.
So actually, I'm interested in that, and I actually downloaded the app and tried to use it myself, but I found that it's not actually open to the individuals. I think it's mainly for the supermarkets and to the retailers. So, and also, I know there's an app. It's gaining the momentum in the UK market. It's called Doyle.
Yes.
So, but it's focused on the individual users. So, how did you see the, let's say, the long-term strategy for the FoodCloud for penetrating the UK market or penetrating their individual users to getting this market share?
I wish I was a marketing expert to give you. Let me try and answer this very, very in a quite short way. One of the biggest problems with people giving food to charities is food safety, right? So at least we know when we're getting food from retailers or manufacturers or farms where the food has come from and what it's gone through. If you arrive at my charity door with jars or tins or whatever, I may not be able to take that food. So Olio is great, and we are a partner charity with them, and we think they are brilliant, but it faces a challenge with that, in the same way that we do sometimes when we're collecting some foods from retailers, okay? So that's the first part. But my second part of the question goes back to my last answer, which is we're a small team with limited resources. So identifying the retailers and the sheer amount of food that they have available was the first part of the project. So I'm going to tell you something that's horrible, right? That 25 million meals that we did. In Ireland and the UK, maybe 8 or 9% of the food from retailers goes to charities. That's all. 8 or 9%. And that's thousands of tons. So there is so much more food available. So you divide and conquer.
Actually,
So
actually, how many retailers or charities have been connected to UK? I think.
It's, let's say it's 8,000 between Ireland and the UK. But one of the things that we have to remember, 8,000, right? But one of the things that we have to remember is, so we deal with all of the Tesco stores in Ireland, which is great. there are not as many Tesco stores in Ireland as there are in Manchester. So, you know, the big differences there and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
There's another question? Yeah. Do you want to? You can. There's a microphone. Yeah, I think it's here actually.
Hi, Mary. I just have a quick question to Darragh.
On the outside, selling chili.
So the next question, please ask all panelists.
Sorry, I'm going to talk to David as well.
All right. Okay, good. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Actually, I used to voluntarily work for a Dublin Simon community. So you may have heard about that. Yeah. I'm not sure if you have any follow-up sessions.
Any which?
Follow-up.
Oh, follow-up, okay.
Yeah, because when I was working for Dublin Simon in a storage department, and they wasted a lot of food actually. They received food from somewhere, I don't remember where it was, and they received a lot of food every week. But by the end of that week, they wasted a lot.
Sure.
Even by the end of the day, because the chef cooked food for the residents, and there were 20 residents, and almost 20 portions of food wasted by the end of the day. So I'm not sure, I just want to give you that information. I'm not sure if you have follow-up.
I don't know if everybody heard it. So she was saying actually the food donated to the charity was wasted as well. So that's an interesting perspective actually. Yeah.
Sure, and the food waste is unavoidable, unfortunately. Not every piece of food is going to get there, and I completely take that on board. But again, so if you remember that hierarchy I showed you, let's feed people first. And then if you can't feed people, let's make sure that that food goes to animals, or goes to composting, or goes to fuel, and not to landfill.
Unfortunately, it doesn't go to compost.
But maybe that's education. 20 years ago in Ireland, there was no such thing as a brown bin. So.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry, I want to talk to Dana.
The last question, actually, we're running out of
I'm
time.
really sorry about that. Because I'm working in ABA field, applied behavior analysis. I'm working with people with autism. And you said today, the happy memory. We focus on happy memories. But some people, I heard a lot of feedback from other people. They said ABA, applied behavior analysis, is very cruel to people with autism. And they were saying we made the kids crying and shouting, screaming, and every day. So they said we're very, very cruel. But I just want to say thank you to you, because you mentioned to me that we need to focus on the interventions on behaviors, but also we need to focus on the happy memories as well. We need to make them happy every day, and to make impact influences on their future. And your future is the tomorrow. So if they have tomorrow, and they have future. Thank you.
Brilliant.
I think just last one word, okay, from each panelist. What's your New Year resolution? It can be anything. You might want to do something different this year in 2018, or maybe continue to do as it is. Just one line is fine.
One word, kindness.
Oh, nice. And Dr. Ju?
Do the right thing, maybe?
Do the right thing. Okay. Yeah, 5 words.
To just live every moment. I did an SMA course during last year. It was a horrific course, but that's another story. It was just one very bad. It was dreadful, actually, again. But now parts of it were good, and I did it. I've gone through it and all that, and got her cert. So I'll probably do a little bit of that, because again, with children, and obviously these are children who are different to the children of LauraLynn, but a lot of them have problems like the autism and that. But I do think, I know there's a saying that I've heard in life, shows you 100 reasons to cry, show life 1,000 reasons to smile. And I really think that because of Lynn, now there are days I don't feel like that, there are days it's not that I've never felt like not being here, because I really love life. But I wish my parents were here, obviously, but I would never think about doing anything. And it's Lynn's words that always come back, and the way she was able to live. So I think it's about live your life as best you can, and especially, touch wood, if you have your relatives job, or 64 years of age. I'm very lucky to have, and I hope I have it for another few years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's enjoying every moment of your life. The last thing I want to do is actually, sorry, if I can kindly, if you can kindly return to your seats. And I'm going to invite Michael Thompson, the Community Fundraising Officer from Peter McVerry Trust, to our stage, please. You're welcome. Okay, so I just wanted to say, firstly, thank you for coming to this event. And secondly, today, we actually, for this event, we sold 81 tickets, raised €1,022 today. And I would like to say that because of Peter McVerry have been committed to solve homeless crisis in this country, which is phenomenal and it's incredible. So that's why we would like to donate all the proceeds to your trust. And no problem. And there's also souvenir. Can you help me to open it? There's a beautiful souvenir for Peter McVerry Trust. Sorry. No problem. For each of the speakers. So, did you enjoy tonight?
I had a fantastic time. Can you all hear me there at the back?
Yes.
I suppose I'm not here to give a big speech. Just wanted to say a very quick thank you to the organisers and the speakers for a wonderful evening and for choosing us as their charity. I suppose I've been working in the charity sector for about 8 years now. And I've heard from past colleagues and my current line manager what a fantastic speaker you were, and I've been waiting quite a long time to hear you speak, Jane, so I really did disappoint tonight and really found it very inspirational. And then I was laughing there during the panel discussion. We were talking about connecting people, and Darragh was there talking about charities. We're actually one of the charities that benefit from the work that Darragh and his organisation do, which of course he as the organisers might not have known at the time.
Sure.
We are currently supporting 850 individuals, our organisation alone, per night, people who are experiencing homelessness. 47% of these people are under the age of 25, and since FoodCloud have come on board, they've allowed us to kind of our guys in our under 18s residential services, children who I suppose who home isn't a very safe place to be, or home isn't somewhere that they're very welcome, are in our services, along with young adults, along with families in our family hubs, and numerous individuals in our emergency accommodation. And the work that you guys do has allowed us to provide great quality food for them. So to the rest of you, to those who have purchased tickets and who've come here tonight, thank you so much for your time and for helping us do what we do. And to the fantastic speakers, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
So you enjoyed it. Another 5 minutes, we're going to show you this amazing art. So I'm going to pass on to Wendy.
Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, we have our graphic facilitator using her markers to capture this lovely evening. So let's welcome her on the stage and show us what she's been working on. Julia?
By the way, there are lots of lovely cakes, homemade and provided by our sponsors in the corner there, so feel free to take some of them home. Don't waste them, yeah. Hello everybody, it's a very good pleasure for me to show the work
It's called graphic recording. It's a very young skill. It kind of uses icons, images, and words to capture what's going on. Not only the words, but also I use some metaphors and something very funny to show what's the idea. If you're interested, please accompany me, and I will show you more about it. As you can see, I use this band from the Love Actually Talk. It's kind of connection, connect everything here in this room. And we have 3 speakers here. You can see about this one, and here, and here. And you can use the different colors to see what the story is going on. And on the bottom, there's also connection. You can see there's the plugs every societies and organizations and the sponsors here to make this happen. And here are the panel discussion. I captured some keywords and some sentences here. Anyway, lots of things. You can take a picture or whatever, share with it. I hope you can get something take away from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Angelia, for your lovely work. And we're going to share this picture, the photo of this picture online. And also, if anyone is interested in Angelia's work and knowing more about graphic recording, we maybe talk to her after the event and find out more. And I guess we are coming to the end of our event tonight. Thank you very much for everyone for coming here. And so if anyone is interested in knowing more about LauraLynn Foundation and also buying her book, come to talk to Jane. And also for FoodCloud, please leave your email contacts to Darragh if you're interested in knowing more, and also make a contribution to the food waste resolution. And then also
sorry, if I can just say one word, if everybody can stay, and we're going to take a group picture from this side. So we're going to hold the picture, and then all the audience at the back. So please stay on for 1 minute. Sorry to
Okay, no worries. And so everyone, if you can group together.